Good afternoon, all. CamelbackTrading.org coming to you this Wednesday afternoon, August 26th. We are looking at the market profile of the SPY ETF here on Window Trader. And we get finally from what we've been doing normally, gapping higher, trading sideways, gapping higher, trading sideways. We gap higher, we do fill the gap, but then go full trend, have 5 sets of single prints in the SPY that hold, or 4. 1, 2, 3, nope, 5. 4 sets that hold in the ES. We go out with an all-time high in the SPY, SPX, NASDAQ, triple Qs, you name it. I wouldn't doubt where we close that we probably get maybe an overnight all-time high again. This is a case possibly of buying the rumor before Powell speaks at Jackson Hole tomorrow, what they're anticipating. He must be feeling a lot of pressure after this market's performance, because if he says anything that upsets the apple cart, we are one time framing up in a monthly, weekly, and daily. So he better be careful not to upset it. Although markets, like I said, don't go bull bear. They'll go bull balance. Even if it's a good flush, it would be balanced before it goes bear. Had a good day today. I think what's most important on a day like today, and this isn't just for me, this is for anybody that has a trading room, their responsibility to their traders to try to make them see that fading a trend day is the worst thing that could possibly happen to you. And most people lose probably their accounts on fading trend days, even though it wasn't a strong one as far as tempo or volume. The bottom line was, from B period to F's high, if you didn't want to be long, then just watch it. You were long or wrong. I couldn't stress to my room hard enough that you had to wait for two-sided trade. And you have, and what is two-sided trade? Well, exactly what started taking place in GH and I. And then even then I said, you know what? This pullback that I'm looking for, I think it's at best 50-50. We either go higher or get the pullback. And guess what? We got two-sided trade and then exploded again to the upside until finally we got more two-sided trade and then got the afternoon pullback that we were looking for. I had a very good day today, and I really didn't do anything in E or F on the upside. I wish I could tell you, hey, I was long from B's high and rode it all the way up. I didn't. I was long in C period and took it off at C's high, and then actually after that, I watched D, E, F, and did not get involved again to G period. And I'll go over everything in a minute. But it's important. If you're in a trading room that's not trying to educate you, teach you, and show you the right way things are to be done, get out. Because if they weren't telling you to not fade a trend day, that's something very, very serious that I'd be careful about. So let's go over my trading today. So we open on a gap in A period. And I took 2 trades in A. I actually took one when it came down but did not fill the opening. I got long. And I played a lot of different expirations. So these were the 828 calls I took. I bought the 343, 828 calls. Didn't fill the gap right away, went back up, couldn't get below the opening, above the opening, took it off for a nice trade. And then when it came down again, and I knew ES had filled their gap and we didn't, I took a short play, a 345 put to fill the gap. Both of them worked out nice. We one time framed up in B, C started, we had single prints. Remember, if we take out the previous time frames high right away when you have single prints, the odds of them filling go down. Now, I know ES filled theirs. We did not. We took out B's high. We came in. I got long in C's, around C's low, and then took them off again right around C's high for a nice trade. Those were the 345 calls. Then we just started trending. Very slow tempo, very light volume. However, it was trending, and I stayed out of it. In D, E, F. So finally in G, we couldn't take out F's high right away. I said, okay, the odds of filling the singles got better. Now, we never did. What I did, now, I've been looking, and I think I said this in yesterday's video. Any put I took today was the 350s that expires September 14th. Because I think at some point we're getting a little stretched out. I'm not looking for the market to die. I'm not looking for anything of that nature. I'm looking for the market to trade sideways, come into some sort of balance where I would be happy to take a put play. So I'm going out 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks. So I traded the 350 puts in G period. I started them very small. I got as long, the biggest position I took was like 21 contracts, and then we went back and forth. It came in, I took them off, went back up, took them back on. I was actually long only 14 of them when I said, you know what, there's a good chance we're going to pop, and it did. Now, I didn't get hurt because those things I was long, my average price ended up being about 613. The highest they went, the lowest they went in J's high was 598. So I was only 15 cents out of the money. Didn't add to them because at that point now I'm saying, all right, we might have another set of single prints. And we did in K period. And then K came down really hard. I was thinking about adding. I didn't. We got back into money. K flushed out. Those things went from my average price of 613, sold them out between 630 and 654. It would have been nice if I added. I was tempted to add 30 up here, but I didn't do it. I didn't want to fight the single prints. So what happened? Once I got flat the puts, K came down. When K came down, first thing here at H&I said that's a first stop. I bought calls. Now I went to today's calls, 346 calls. Bought them. Went right up 20 cents. Took them off. Came in again, bought them again, did the same thing, and then in L, when L took out K's low, bought them again. I did 3 lots of 20. 2 in K, 1 in L. Each one made between 15 and 20 cents on them. The last one I took it all the way back up to POC. I thought we would have a little bit of a speed bump at FI high, but obviously we didn't because L went right up. I was prepared to get long as much as 100. Because at the time I was buying them, the cheapest I bought them were in the 70s. I was prepared to buy them in the 50s, 40s, because I thought for sure we weren't going to take back the whole trend day. And I was more than comfortable getting long more. Now look, as I'm talking here, we're making a new contract all-time high in SPY in the after hours. No surprise. And then in M period, first time it flushed down. We had some poor structure. Again, I bought the 346 calls, went up, got the structure, and got out. So it was a very good day, and I didn't even do anything in D, E, or F. Now, why didn't I do anything? Well, again, you have to know yourself, right? Knowing yourself is the biggest part of being a trader, then knowing the vehicle you trade, and then knowing your competition. Well, I just wasn't comfortable with this lack of, I was waiting for it to pull back each time. If it had pulled back, I would have gotten long. I was actually had bids in F period if it pulled back to take some of the singles back. Never did. So that's fine. No trade is a trade also. But at least I didn't short this. And then I got involved with two-sided trade on both sides of the market here. That's educating the trading room. Very important. All right, destinations. Upside, there's one and only one right now, 347.86. Although I got to see what the overnight high will be. That will obviously be a destination 2 tomorrow at some point. But right now I have 347.86. It looks like we're trading at 348 and change above that. For the downside, 5 sets of single prints, none of them large. First one started 346.29 and get filled at 09. Second one is 345.89, get filled at 47. Third set is 345.36, get filled at 33. Fourth set starts at 345.07, gets filled at 344.91. Fifth set starts at 344.85, gets filled at 80. And then today's low of 344.17. Now, on a normal day following a day like this, right? We had 6 sets. I ended up with 5. That's very rare. When you have a day like this, you usually get consolidation the next day. But, and it's a big but, You have the Fed chairman speaking at Jackson Hole about what he's looking for inflation targets going forward. So that takes the odds of a consolidation day, which are probably 70-75% on a normal day, probably down at best to 50-50, if not less. We're going to have to see what happens tomorrow. I know he starts speaking around, I'm not sure what time he starts speaking. I thought it was 9 o'clock, but I don't know what time it is out in Wyoming at that time, but that's fairly early. So we'll see if he's done before the opening. Okay, now, I know it's a little longer, but today warranted it. Let's go to the charts. If I could lock the other thing. Okay. Monthly just exploding above February's high, right? One time framing up 4 months, coming out of a 7-month balance, and now we're a solid almost $8.50 above February's high. Pretty awesome. Weekly, same thing. One time framing up. This is the 8th week, exploding above February's high. Gaps in the monthly, 2 in the weekly. That's why if I was to take a put play, I don't think the market's, I'm not saying sell will come. Not a shot. What I'm saying is I expect it at some point to get really stretched where we need to trade sideways and maybe stop the one-time framing up in the weekly to have a healthier market. That's all I'm saying. Daily. Exploded out of an 8-day balance with a gap. Gap filled, but trend day up. Close at the high. Markets don't go bull bear. I'm not looking for this to go bear, folks. Right? We need balance first. We'll see if we get it. And then, quickly, triple Qs. This thing has 300 written all over it at some point. Just exploding. Monthly, weekly, daily. Now, what didn't follow, I didn't look at it late in the day, but the Russell... Oh, it did end up on the day. But the Russell, still healthy in the monthly. Right now, an inside week, right? We stopped the one-time framing up, so we're firmly in balance in the weekly. So it's not a disaster, right? And then the daily, same thing. Is this an inside day? No, we took out yesterday's high or no? 150? No, we didn't. So we had an inside day today. So your one-time framing up for 2 days, well, actually 3. You have to count today because you didn't take out yesterday's low. So it's one-time framing up for 3 days, very tight range, inside day. So if the Russell's able to come out of it to the upside tomorrow, then you start going your little baby steps, 158. Eventually that you need to take out 160. Until they take out 160, they're not going to even have an attempt at their all-time high. And if you come out of the Russell to the downside tomorrow, then you should go test the 153.60 level. And if that fails, you're going to start heading back down to that 151 gap. I hope you had a good day trading today. Come check us out at CalumBackTrading.org. It's the most sensible, realistic trading group out there for a price you'll never, ever get anywhere else. Have a great night. And we'll speak prior to the opening tomorrow.